It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Hello and welcome to my Skyrim Ultimate Ironman challenge. Before we can get into what happened there, let's start at the beginning. No, not that far back. Please, never that far back again. It all started a few months ago with Joov's Skyrim challenge video. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'll start with a basic overview of the rules. We play in expert difficulty, which isn't the hardest, but man, this challenge is hard enough. You play in survival mode. You have to eat and sleep. You can't fast travel. We're not allowed to use vendors, so we can't purchase anything at all. And we're not allowed to loot any equipable items from enemies or in the world. I've also added a no stealing rule because I'm going to count that as being a part of someone's inventory. So what do we do exactly in this challenge? We mine and we harvest a lot of things ourselves. All of our armor and weapons have to be crafted by us, and the majority of potions we end up with will have to be manually crafted as well. In order to survive this challenge, we're going to have to live off the land. So let's hop in with day one. Our goals for the first day are very simple. We're planning to get out of Helgen, make our way to Riverwood. There we will begin our journey in smithing, armor, and weapons. Then we will hopefully make our way over to Embark mine and clear it out for our first dungeon of the game. But first, the beginning. We start by nearly getting executed, which gets interrupted by a dragon. Then we're climbing a tower minding our own business when we get Kool-Aid Man attacked by a dragon. Then we're just trying to walk through town when, who would have guessed it, it's a dragon again. Joking aside, I'm going to start moving quickly because I feel like everyone knows the beginning of Skyrim, and even under these challenge conditions, the beginning isn't really that interesting. We get completely naked as soon as we're able to because those clothes weren't crafted by us and therefore are illegal. Following this is a section I wanted to show because when I started this challenge, I hadn't rewatched Joov's video and I couldn't remember if looting from the world was considered legal in the challenge or not. This caused me to leave some potions behind in Helgen that I could have legally picked up. We'll come back for those later. I just wanted to show it so it makes sense. The rest of the escape from Helgen is pretty basic. We use magic to take out some guys, then we use magic to take out some spiders, and then we run away from a bear because I'm too scared to find out. From Helgen, we head to the Guardian Stones. At the Guardian Stones, we decide to go with the warrior sign. I'm thinking that we are going to do a lot of smithing, and I'm planning on running a sword and board build. So warrior just makes a lot of sense for this. We then make the journey to Riverwood. Upon arriving in Riverwood, we quickly get started on our smithing journey by talking to our boy Alvor. He's the man and he gives us some free supplies to make a dagger. Then we sharpen the dagger, and then we make a helmet, then we fortify the helmet. Then we use some supplies we gathered on our journey this far, and we're able to make boots and gloves as well. So we set off towards Embark mine with a dagger, some light clothing, and a dream. The mine is the first place we really have to test ourselves in combat. A dagger isn't a great weapon, but we can still utilize our flame spell to make up some of the difference. Utilizing this strategy, we take out the first few enemies with no problem. I remember from watching Joov's video that we really have to be concerned about enemies that wield two-handed weapons. See, they have the ability to take you out very quickly if you aren't careful. Our next encounter involves exactly that, and utilizing our firepower, we're able to take them out without getting hit once. Next, we move to the big open area of the mine, where after taking out the first guy, we decide to do a little looting. It's while we're looting that we're attacked from behind by the next two guys. While trying to create some distance, we end up using our magic to heal rather than to do damage. This fight is really our first test as far as this run goes. The two-handed guy facing him without a sword, or without a shield, and not using fire to keep the distance means that you have to really respect him. We end up getting ourselves into a little bit of a dicey situation, and we end up having to use a couple potions. This could have went horribly wrong if I didn't have the potions on hand. It just goes to show how important crafting potions are going to be for the run. After we get the two-handed guy down, though, the fight's a lot less scary, and we go ahead and finish off the one-handed guy with no problem. Following this fight, we pick up the fishing supplies in this area, and then we get out of here, and we head back to Riverwood. Before ending the first day of this challenge, we make some apple cabbage stew, which will become a staple of the challenge. It's the easiest to acquire and best food to eat in the challenge. We then go to sleep, ending the first day. That's the end of the first day, boys.
Take what you need, my friend.
Here's what I'm thinking for day 2. We want to start mining to work on upgrading our armor, and we'll inevitably have to go to Whiterun to smelt ore, which also gives us more access to mining locations. The first thing we'll have to do is head back over to Embershard Mine, though, because I forgot to grab the pickaxe while we were there. Once we have the pickaxe, we begin the first of many mining montages. Now that that is done, let's head from Riverwood to Whiterun for the first time. Arriving at Whiterun's gates, we are stopped by a guard who's trying to harass us. We talk our way out of it, though, and enter the city for the first time. Immediately entering Whiterun, we head to the forge and begin smelting our iron. We take this smelted iron, we turn it into iron armor, an iron sword, and an iron shield. This marks our first official big upgrade that we 100% gathered for ourselves. This is huge for the challenge. We then quickly go find some corundum right outside of Whiterun to mine. We bring this back, and after smelting it, it allows us to craft an adventurer's backpack, which is mandatory for inventory management. Alright, so cue another mining montage. While I was out mining, I found this fun little glitch. Just look at it. It's a see-through section of rock. I don't think I'd ever find something like this playing Skyrim normally, because I would never have a reason to walk around Whiterun, and I don't really mine. I just thought it's a fun byproduct of the challenge. For the record, I've talked a lot about the importance of mining in this challenge, but it's actually crucial that we harvest the other resources of the land as well. Blue mountain flowers, wheat, and butterfly wings are essential so that we can craft healing potions when we need them. While I was out mining, I came across a bandit camp on the backside of Whiterun. I was able to take a slower approach on the bandits here, and I realized that there was only 2 bandits, neither of which were wielding two-handed weapons. So we move in with confidence and we dispatch them. While I was looting the bandit camp, 3 more bandits jumped me from behind. Not only were 2 of them wielding two-handed weapons, which already had me nervous, the other might be something I'm even more afraid of now. There was a caster in the group. 2-handed users I can run away from and not get hit. A caster can hit me while I'm running away. This was a terrifying revelation. I don't remember Joov bringing up casters at all, but maybe I just don't remember the video that well. Either way, I ran back to the Whiterun guards and let them handle this situation for me. A short while later, I came across a small outpost outside of Whiterun. While looking around for something good to loot, the guards started acting hostile for a moment, and I thought they were angry at me for some reason. I then realized a few bandits were attacking the outpost. I thought I could help the guards, but they actually had it pretty well under control. I was going to go find an enemy, and then he got sniped right in front of my eyes, so I decided to go back to Whiterun and do some crafting. I made potions and smelted a lot of iron. I then used the iron to craft an iron helmet and iron boots. I also took some of the iron and used it to fortify my weapons and armor. So here I was out at night trying to find resources when I came across a fight happening in the distance. I thought for a second that I would try to get involved, but then I decided against it. Ending our second day and our first day in Whiterun, I went to the Bannered Mare to rent a room to sleep in. The bartender was super nice and gave me a room pretty cheap considering. Feeling decently successful and more powerful than a day ago, we ended the second day. Our goals for day 3 are as follows. Finish up our iron armor set. In hindsight, I don't know why I bothered with this. My next goal was to start working on steel, so I don't know why I didn't just go straight to steel, but whatever. I wanted to take out another mine that was occupied by bandits to increase my resources, and of course, we gotta keep mining. Upon waking up, we're granted our first level up of the series. I put our attribute point in health to keep us alive, and then I put the perk into smithing so I can go ahead and craft that sweet steel and achieve my goals. We then eat some apple cabbage stew like a good Dovahkiin, and then we head out to start our day. Remember, kids, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. We swing back around that bandit camp I mentioned on day 2 and take care of those guys who jumped us yesterday. We're a little stronger now, and without their mage friend, they didn't stand a chance when it comes to fighting us. We then have a random event where a fugitive asks you to hold something and not to rat him out. I don't really like being told what to do, though, so not only did I immediately give away the thing that he gave me, I also hunted him down for the other guy. You just shouldn't threaten people, you know? It's wrong. Now we head from here to the Halted stream camp to continue on our daily goal. The bandits that hold the camp are in a bit of a scuffle when we arrive. I thought we could third party the fight and take both of them out, only to realize they're fighting necromancers, and as I mentioned before, mages, and I just don't vibe right now. I decided to get the heck out of Dodge and wait for the fight to be over.
A few moments later.
I came back down and the necromancers lost, so it was just me and 2 bandits to deal with. They were both archers, which are the weakest enemy type for me to fight at this point, so I took them out no problem. I spent some time looking for ore around the mine before I would go in there, and I came across this giant camp that had no giants in it. It did, however, have 2 poachers who apparently killed the mammoths who were there. I'm not sure what happened to the giants, though, because I know I can't fight a giant, and I wiped the floor with these 2, so there's no way they took the giants out. After some mining that I won't make you sit through, we came back and headed down into the mine at the Halted stream camp. There was one easy bandit at the start we fought. We almost had a problem because I accidentally triggered the trap while fighting this bandit, and that could have resulted in something very bad happening, but luckily it didn't. Moving into the main atrium of this place, we had a few bandits and the big bandit chief, who honestly was terrifying. I kited them to the exit doing fire damage the whole time, which I was able to take one bandit out with. I left and took a few moments to regain my magic before heading back in to take the rest out.
A few moments later.
It may be a little bit cowardly, but in a challenge like this, you have to play it smart sometimes and not rush into situations that might get you killed. After finishing this, I took time to loot the area and found a book that taught me the transmutation spell. This could come in handy later in the challenge when I try to grind out some smithing levels by allowing me to easily craft jewelry, but we'll see. You know what time it is now, though. Cue the mining montage. After a good batch of mining, it was time to head back to Whiterun to get crafted. We started by finishing our iron armor set, which, again, I don't know why we wasted time on this. Then it was time to make some potions with some of the stuff we've been picking up all along the journey so far. Let's cut away now to a fight I got into with some wolves. Just kidding, it was a clever way to make content out of mining again. Okay, for real, there were 2 wolves though, so we gotta take them both out. Ooh, gotcha, it's a mining, we're doing a mining. Before I ended the day, we craft a steel sword and a steel helmet. Then we head back to the Bannered Mare and finish out the night. Our goal for day 4 is to complete the steel armor set, and maybe make our way over to another bandit camp to test ourselves following that. This of course goes without saying, but that means we will be doing mining again today. After putting our attribute points in stamina and health, we then grab heavy armor and a one-handed perk. I'm thinking if we continue to stay balanced as far as survivability and damage goes, we'll be able to make it through this challenge. That while trying to keep up our crafting skills as well, of course. We eat our nutritious breakfast, as we do every morning, and then it's time for another mining montage. That montage gave us the ability to craft a steel shield, steel boots, and steel armor, which I think gives us our full steel armor set. We take ourselves over to meet the Jarl. After talking to him, we are sent to his mage, who tells us that we need to go to Bleak Falls Burrow, which is what we've been building towards all week. It's not time yet, though, but it will be soon. We then head out to White River Watch. White River Watch has 2 basic bandits outside who we take care of easily. Upon entering, we are greeted by a blind man, who I just can't bring myself to fight, honestly. Who's going to fight a blind guy? Like, seriously. So I just lie to him instead. Then I notice there's a book in front of him, so I gotta see what he's reading. Bruh. It's blank. Of course it's blank. Why wouldn't it be blank? He's blank. The rest of the bandits inside this cave system are pretty easy to deal with. I'd skip them all entirely if I didn't want to show off how strong we look compared to a mage in the steel armor. Check it out. He put up a ward and he's got another guy with him. And yeah, alright, maybe I should have taken a potion in this fight. And it was a little bit reckless, but we took care of him. I'm going to skip to the end of the cave now because you've seen enough basic encounters to know how this goes. The guy at the end of this wields a big 2-handed axe, and frankly I was really worried about him going into this. I know he could take me out pretty easily in 4 or 5 hits, and if I'm not careful. I back up and start shooting fire at him, hoping just to get some of his health down before we move in and start close-up combat. He switches to a bow, and as he's doing so, I'm out of magic already, so I run in and fight close. For some reason, he gets stuck in bow mode, and it's actually an easier fight than it would have been. After this, I explore the area and end up at Grey Winter Watch for real this time. I'm only in there for a few seconds before I realize. Nope. Yeah, it's not going to happen right now. Above Grey Winter is another Guardian Stone, so I figure I'll take my chances with whatever's up there and see if I can get a cool ability out of it. It happens to be a Necromancer, and while I was nervous, I figured it's better just to take him out as quick as possible rather than deal with a bunch of skeletons and him at the same time. This strategy works really well until I realized there was a zombie there that wasn't conjured by the Necromancer, and he's got a 2-handed weapon, and he hits like a truck. After a little bit of panicking and running away, I get in there and get the job done. And at the end there, if I was getting hit like 1 more time, I wouldn't have made it out of there alive. The stone ends up being the ritual stone, which I don't think we can use in this challenge because I already said I wanted to be a paladin. And bringing people back from the dead doesn't fit that vibe at all. We then head back to Whiterun and we end our day. Our goal for day 5 is just to make as many potions as possible and get ourselves mentally ready for Bleak Falls Burrow. We start by taking health as our attribute on level up. And while looking through the one-handed perks, I realized that if I switch from a sword to a mace, I can ignore a percentage of enemies' armor. This seems like the best possible way to do a sword and shield build, so I take the perk and immediately go craft a steel mace. I know what you're wondering though, and no, I didn't forget my breakfast, don't worry. While looking for alchemy supplies and health potions, we were stopped by our first courier of the series. It's a letter about fighting some necromancers somewhere, so I put that in the back of my mind for now because it's not really what we're trying to do. A little later on our alchemical journey, we run to a bandit camp and stomp them down pretty good. We also take the time to stop back at Helgen and grab those potions I mentioned a little while back. Did I forget to mention that one of those bandits dropped a treasure map? I don't think I've ever seen this treasure map playing Skyrim. It's not that interesting, but I just think it's cool that even after all these years, there's new stuff for me to find. While I was out looking for potion supplies, I found another glitch, which is always fun.
All of this just works.
It's not a huge one. It doesn't really affect the game at all. I just thought it was funny. So that's it. We crafted as many potions as we could in one day. I believe we ended up somewhere near 17 potions. I think on day 6, we're going to go ahead and do it. We will attack Bleak Falls Burrow and hopefully complete our goal for the first week 1 day early. Or die trying. Who knows? We've got 2 goals heading into day 6, but it's really just one goal. We will hopefully clear Bleak Falls Burrow, and by nature of that, complete a quest finally. Imagine playing Skyrim for 6 hours and not finishing a single quest. For our level up attribute, we took health, and we put a point in block, which I know is straight survivability, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little worried about Bleak Falls. That's it though. We started the day and we immediately head out. It's hard to explain how it felt approaching Bleak Falls for the first time in this run. Like, I've spent 6.5 or 7 hours preparing for this moment, and I was about to find out if I wasted a bunch of my time or not. I mean, as far as this video goes, dying here still works because I can talk about the difficulty and disappointment. But like, winning is way better. I originally wanted to spend a lot of time on Bleak Falls, but the fights really weren't that interesting. All the basic bandits I just bashed up easily. And the first real challenge we actually came upon was this giant spider. Before the spider, I came across a fireball scroll that I thought might be able to help me. I knew I would need to weaken the spider however I could before moving in to fight it. I launched the fireball, which doesn't do much, then I run away and decide to engage in close range combat after composing myself a little. The thing about the spider fight is I was really worried about the poison. As you can see, my health starts to go down slowly as the spider hits me. This is the thing that terrified me. Luckily, we can utilize that small room where the spider can't get into, and we can kind of heal ourselves up with our magic rather than wasting potions on him. It tends to work out pretty well. You just have to play the spider fight a lot safer than every fight up until this point. That's why I thought it was worth showing in more of a long form here. So you switch to your shield, you go back in, you try not to get hit by the poison, and then you just kind of try to take the spider out. We could have always stood around the corner and just let our magic heal up, but I decided I just wanted to get it done, so I used a potion instead. After I beat the spider, I got the claw from Arvel, by asking nicely, of course. I had originally thought the Draugr were going to be a problem, so I was trying to respect them, and I thought I would have some good footage, but honestly, here's a montage of me kicking the crap out of some Draugr. There was a restless Draugr who at one point I thought would be a problem. He had a lot of health and a two-handed weapon, but honestly, he wasn't that bad either. I was starting to think the steel armor and 17 potions might have been overkill at this point. Using the claw, we opened the door to the Overlord's chamber. This was the moment that would decide whether we succeed or fail the first in-game week of the challenge. Starting with a fireball scroll and giving the Overlord some distance, we swapped to our shield and engaged in proper combat. With everything building up to this, and with me not really knowing how it was going to go, I tried to do the best I could to come in not overly confident and play it the way you would play the fight. So here it is. As you can see, it's really going way better than we possibly could have imagined it would go. I take potions literally just out of being cautious and not because they're needed. And like way more cautious than I definitely needed to be. So our resources got a lot lower. And this would be a grave mistake, it would turn out. Well, not grave, but it's a pretty big mistake to burn resources the way I did. Look at me, so naive. Celebrate in front of the dragon wall. On my way back towards Riverwood from Bleak Falls, I came across the worst thing I could imagine at this point. Frickin' flame Atronaut. Look at this section with my favorites inventory pulled up. It's in 8 times speed. I sat there for a long time just thinking about everything. The whole playthrough flashed before my eyes. I then decided there was nothing I could do but move in and try to beat him. I used every trick I had. Healing potions. I popped flame resistant potions. Magic resistant potions. Anything I could think of to save me. Then, with no potions left and a dream of a challenge about to be crushed, we pull it off. Immediately, I switched to healing in both hands, and luckily I did so because I totally forgot that flame Atronach explode when they die. There's no two ways about it. I got lucky. And thinking I over prepared for Bleak Falls when there are enemies like this that could show up at any moment was naive. I was dumb and I was lucky. Now we head back to Whiterun, thoroughly humbled. But first we gotta stop at the Riverwood trader and turn that claw in. I told you we were gonna finish the quest today. Once in Whiterun, we turn in the Dragonstone to the mage and make our way over the Jarl. He's talking to some people and wastes some of my time.
A few moments later.
He then tells me how happy he is that I was willing to help out and gives me armor from his personal armory.
You should come along. I would very much like to see this dragon. No.
Falling in line with what Joov did in the challenge, we're allowed to disenchant any quest rewards. We can't equip them, but we can use them as our only means to get ourselves enchantments for our own armor. Now, I have no idea how we will ever get a soul trap spell or a stone that has a soul in it, but whatever, man. This is a great reward because it's a fortify heavy armor enchantment, which fits our build. We spend the rest of the 6th day refilling some of our potion stores, and then we end the day not as high as on day 6 as we were at the end of Bleak Falls, but still pretty high on day 6. Day 7, I'm thinking we start on a bigger project, so we need to make our way down to Falkreath. First, of course, we'll have to level up twice. Day 6 was a busy day. We put 1 point in stamina, 1 point in health, and then after a lot of debating, I put both perk points in one-handed to increase our damage output by 60%. We then head to Falkreath. Entering Falkreath for the first time was a pretty cool experience. We haven't seen a new city since day 2, and it's been quite a journey to get here. The town, unfortunately, is a lot like Riverwood, and there isn't much to do. They don't have a smelter. I go and talk to the Jarl because I know I can't buy land without his permission, and he gives me some crap about how he wants Blackbriar mead before he'll even entertain the idea of talking to me, basically. So then we leave Falkreath and we head back to Whiterun. Once in Whiterun, I hire the carriage to take me to Riften because that's where the meadery is. Of course, I can't buy or steal mead, but I'm hoping once I get there, I'll be able to figure something out. This unfortunately ends day 7, so this video actually contains 8 days, but 1 week sounds better. Goals for day 8 are as follows. Try and get some mead, don't die, and maybe if you want to like the video and subscribe to the channel and help me out, I really appreciate it. Riften guards are shady because Riften, it turns out, is shady. They try and shake me down for money. I call them out, and they let me go before I expose them.
You want everyone to hear you?
I'm then just exploring Riften when I come across a thief getting attacked by a guard. He's got a note on him that starts a quest that we aren't doing right now. I look around the meadery for a while, but I have no luck obtaining a bottle that's illegal for the challenge. I then stop down at the fishery to try to get that quest moving along that we picked up back on day 1. It's at this point that I Google how to get a bottle, and it turns out there's apparently one in the Ratway, so that's where we head next. The door to the Ratway has a letter about there being a ghost there. I decide to just see what will happen, so I head in. This may look familiar to you because this is the scene from the opening of the video. I was very confident going in against a one-handed enemy, and once again this challenge does a great job of humbling you anytime you think you got a good grasp on what's safe and what isn't. I got lucky again. Like you saw in the beginning clip, and you're seeing it now, there's no reason I should have lived through this. After this close encounter, I decided to end the 8th day just by fishing. I didn't really find anything that exciting, but my character hasn't slept in 2 days technically or something like that, so I call in an early night and I rent a room in Riften. If you like the video or have any suggestions for the next week in game, drop a comment down below. I'll try to read every single comment, and if there's any ideas I like, I'll do them. I know we need more potions, and I'm going to try to increase smithing level, but other than that, I don't have any plans for the second week currently. I'd like to just have the house started by the end of the first in-game month if we can live that long. But with a challenge like this, you never know. Thanks for watching, and as always, be excellent to each other.
Leave weapons laying around. Someone could get hurt. And if I see you do it again, that someone will be you. Have I made myself clear?
Did I just seriously get yelled at for throwing junk out of the water back into the water? What the hell, Riften?